Guys, I don't understand. Can you explain to me why aren't more people talking about Limbus Company? Really interesting title about the game I am about to try.
Limbus Company, you are better than...
Actually, I forgot. I'm actually recording this video, so just let you guys know that after this one, I am playing the Limbus Company for very first time. There's been a lot of comments regarding whether to stream it or to play it and record it, so I decided to record it and doing it myself, and then I'm gonna post it for you guys. And because I don't have that much time and sometimes I'm lazy as fuck, I don't know how many days it's gonna come, but it will come. So stick around for more Limbus Company.
Well beloved, because... Wait, do you hear that? It sounds like...
I kind of feel like I need this
God.
to like get more hype, you know?
the video yet!
관리자. 나리!
Oh, the problem. What is the
I've
problem?
only recently been indoctrinated into the cult of Project Moon, thanks to a little game known as Limbus Company, that has since extended to Library of Rowena and as much of Lobotomy Corporation as my mental can handle, because what the fuck even is going on at this point? For the last 6 or so months, it's
So
no
this is a
exaggeration
previous
to
one,
say
right?
that I've fallen in love with these games. The world, the story, the characters, and the overall feeling of having a gacha game elicit actual emotion out of me. Something other gacha games could only wish they could do. Genshin. The world is lived in.
Oh my god. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I'm not Genshin Impact hater. Like, without a single doubt, the Genshin Impact is the game that I stream the most, and I played probably the most as well. But also maybe because there is no freaking skip button, things like that. So it's kind of satisfying to start seeing, you know, videos where I'm like so keen to try new gacha games, and they basically comparing it to, you know, basically the giant of gacha.
Dark, sick, and bereft of human righteousness. The characters of their own, capable of growth that persists and never truly feel cast to the wayside.
By the way, and I'm genuinely curious about Limbus Company. How many people are developing this game? Also, speaking about it, please, like, if there is literally like someone even from the Korea and like it's completely Korean, it's totally fine by me. If there is some documentary about how this like company or the Project Moon has been basically, you know, created and stuff, I would genuinely love to see it, because I've seen basically today and like yesterday, I've seen some couple Project Moon stream where literally the CEO, I assume that's the CEO of the Project Moon, right? He was just like casually live streaming, and I really love this attitude, and I would genuinely like to know like how they've been, you know, growing and like developing the games, things like that. So if there is any type of content, I don't even need to react to it, I just wanted to see it for myself. Please let me know down below.
The main character is not overtly a self-insert, experiences their own growth and has their own massive flaws that matter, and isn't treated as a hyper-competent do-it-all that everyone revolves around. I like how I'm not treated as though I'm an imbecile needing to understand bosses or get a grasp on unit kit synergies. I like the team building, I like the constant curiosity the dialogue breeds, I like how the universe's concepts are easy to understand and not bog.
This actually caught me off guard a little bit. I'm a little bit confused. Is this genuine, or is this considered to be kind of like a joke?
Down by a bad case of nownitis. But most of all, I like how the gacha game doesn't really feel like a gacha game.
I heard that a
And yet,
lot.
between all those thoughts, I can't help but wonder why more people aren't talking about Limbus Company.
Maybe
Project
I
Moon is a
will.
relatively small indie game company based in South Korea, consisting of around 50 employees. Their repertoire consists of Hell on Earth, Peak Cinema, and the worst of the three, apparently. It's not hard to get the idea that they really
Worst?
came from nothing, as it were, with Lobotomy Corporation looking like it had the budget of 5 cents and a ball of lint, which was kind of the case because it was originally a failed Kickstarter game. Lobotomy Corp was marketed as an SCP-inspired monster management simulator, garnering around $3.3 thousand of the initially proposed $40,000 goal with its small demo. And for most people, well, that'd be that. No funding means no development, which
I can actually see a lot of like a UI based from the Limbus Company. This is like really interesting. Obviously, I gonna play the Limbus Company first, and then we'll see like how that goes like later on. But also a little bit curious how well connected are these, you know, three games to each other.
should have meant no game. But my cute CEO, Kim Ji-hoon, said no, I don't think that's the case, and ended up tirelessly working with the feedback given to them, incorporating
Okay, let me read the feedback. I'm actually curious because this guy seems like down to earth. Take this opportunity for a better attempt at Kickstarter for next time if we have a chance. Just saying if we have a chance speaks a lot about like the entire
With the
attitude.
feedback given to them, incorporating the limitations put forward by the game engine and lacking art assets into the story itself, so there was at least a reason for it. What the game lacked in visual interface ingenuity, they made up for with gameplay and story ingenuity. Kim Ji-hoon and his buddies from the anime club would make this game Kickstarter be damned. Make it a steaming pile of dog shit! Because for all the violet midnights and low-key soft-lock abnormality combinations you can unfortunately stumble upon, Lobotomy Corporation was a wonderfully thought-out game that introduces the beloved concepts of the PM-verse and spurred on the creation of Project Moon's other more well-crafted titles. Concepts like the setting of the city, a complete dystopia lacking in humanity, or perhaps is poisoned by it. After all, only those deemed human may preside within its walls. It's like Disneyland for psychopaths and sociopaths.
Nice.
And empaths, capitalists, nihilists, cannibals, and
Yo, who is this? I don't even want to know like how they make this pie. Like what's inside, you know what I mean? It's actually crazy. Like at first I was like, okay, this is like really interesting and like high detail picture comparing to the previous one. And I just noticed that like vicious smile right here, that blood, oh God.
and fucking clowns. One hell of a place to take up the art of comedy. But Lobotomy Corporation plants the seed.
Am I gonna have a
unintended,
nightmare?
that even in a place as utterly wretched as this, hope can be just around the corner, grown within the very people that seem so clearly woeful. And goddamn did that game sell. The tagline of an SCP
1
management
million?
game really worked wonders, turning some
Wow.
pretty large heads around. And I can't even really name another game that has that same premise. Does My Singing Monsters count? Also, don't play the game unless you hate yourself. It's like 150 hours of pure unadulterated pain. The direct sequel to
Okay.
Lobotomy Corporation, Library of Rowena, was an excuse to develop the strongest part of the previous title, the world itself. It very much helps that the main two protagonists are a clueless sentient robot who wishes to learn more about the city, and a denizen of the city who knows its ins and outs perhaps a little too intimately. Its gameplay loop, a deck-building, turn-based RPG system,
Wait a minute, this is the previous game? I either didn't pay that much attention or this is the previous game. If that's the case, I actually thought that this is kind of like a beta version of Limbus Company.
with some RNG sprinkled in, allowed for a multifaceted experience many people loved.
Honestly, I kind of like
Loved
RNG
so much they made it
experience.
the monetization model of their next game, but we'll get to that. Library of Rowena wasn't as popular as Lobotomy Corporation.
Okay, let me see. I mean, let's be real. Copies sold, even if you like sold even let's say 100 copies, 100,000 copies, I kind of feel it as I would say it's a global success. But I mean, like overall, this is impressive. Like for kind of failed Kickstarter to going for almost 2 million copies. Holy shit.
Despite it being a massive step up for the company. That's not to say it didn't
That's
do well,
huge.
it did. Simply the premise wasn't as immediately interesting as something so clearly as inspired as its predecessor. People who played the game more than likely came from Lobotomy Corp wanting to learn more about the universe and the characters. Also,
I think this is also like really important to maybe at least highlight, because if you make a really good game, like with, let's say with the good story and stuff, and you trying to like extend it, well, then you become a Hoyoverse, but maybe in a little bit different and better spotlight.
the music, Jesus, don't get me started. From the floor themes to any Millie song, I'm sure you've heard something from this game before without realizing it. This 2 for 2 record when it came to games would soon become 3 for 3 with the release of Limbus Company in 2023.
Yo, this dude
maybe
looks
not
badass.
immediately. The game had very obvious problems from the get-go, most notably of which was the fact that it was gacha. Ugh, the word causes a deep stirring in my loins, and not the
Come
good
on.
kind. If you've been paying attention, you'll have noticed that Project Moon was known for its story-driven single-player games, not gacha. There is a difference. When the factorial slop of gacha is so prevalent with its countless little practices made to waste both your time and your money, the caution the fanbase had towards Project Moon's new game was warranted. But it was all ultimately for naught, because this game managed to take the things that made all the previous games so good and packaged it into a simple enough format to be enjoyed by the
I actually wonder, like, did they try to, if I'm making a game, and obviously I would have some vision, right? I would probably not feeling that like my very first shot is going to be that like final game. So maybe if someone know, they would probably have, you know, something in mind, but they need to like gradually experience a different type of gameplay before they will, you know, wrap like everything like all in one.
casual
Does it
audience
make
that reside
sense?
within this precarious genre. And if you play the game for longer than an hour, you realize very quickly that Project Moon loves you. Yes, you heard me. Kim Ji-hoon specifically thanks you for playing Limbus Company. Glory be to Limbus Company, glory be to Project Moon, and in the words of our cute CEO himself, may he attain wealth and fame almighty. And if you can't tell, that's at least how it feels to be part of the community of this game at times. We want it to succeed, we want people to play it, and we want it to get even bigger and even better with every update that cycles through. Can it be predatory?
Yo, what was that art? Oh, wait a minute. Like, going back, the company's motto is wealth and honor, based on the two things the Kim Jong-un aspire to obtain. Oh my god, I love this guy. This is literally my soulmate. Okay, you cannot see it. Let me move my face. Oh my god, he kind of looks like me. I have to play the game.
Can it be predatory? Sure. Is it overtly predatory? No, I would say not at all. In fact, I would go so far as to say
Wealth
that
and
despite
honor.
Project Moon's motto being this big, bold, almost laughably authentic view of the CEO's vision, they really don't know how to make money. And the times where they do try to drain your wallets, they outright say it. For the anime, for the 3D action RPG, I give my wallet unto you, my
I think this is actually like such a great marketing tool that maybe more companies should involve or like, you know, try to implement. People are not retarded, you know, people are not stupid. I feel like if you are being honest with the people or well, like with your community more likely gonna accept it and, you know, this is gonna happen. Oh my god, I love it.
CEO. Power creep? Yeah, sure. But the units are so easy to get, whether by the decent rates or simply by farming the repeatable roguelike mode mirror
Yeah,
guns,
who
that you're able to
cares?
basically get any character
Well,
you
I'm
want
actually
in the
curious
game for
about
free.
that
No
part.
RNG reliant time-gated artifact system, no smorgasbord mishmash of collectibles, no going to pity every single time, and a story that is good. Amazing. In fact. Absolute goddamn cinema. And this is why I made the distinction between a gacha game
I'm
and
so
a
curious
single-player
about the
game.
story.
Because while many bigger gacha games can suffer from character irrelevance, convoluted nouns you need to remember, bloated dialogue, and in-your-face unit
This line, what he just said.
convoluted nouns you need to remember, bloated dialogue,
These two sentences literally sum up the entire reason why I don't play a particular
and
games anymore.
in-your-face unit shilling, Limbus Company draws
Unit
from its
chilling.
roots as a narrative-driven experience and provides you simply with an excellent story-based game. There are levels to this, right? To combat character irrelevance, the main cast consists
By the way, who wrote the story for the Limbus Company? Was it like one of these like main guys or did they hire someone? I'm genuinely asking for basically educational purposes now.
of 12 sinners, including the main character, their guide, Virgilius, and his weird monochrome adopted daughter,
I was like,
Carol.
he
I
kind of
think
looks
she's
like him,
autistic.
right?
Also, she drives a Limbus and is my favorite character.
Yeah.
You pull for versions of these characters from alternate universes, and each sinner
Yo, like, oh my god, like, I actually read in the morning some comments that I should go to a window tab or something in the game and like check the art of like egos or something. I'm like so curious about that. Also, because I see the UI, it's a little bit confusing to me. I hope I'm gonna find it.
remains a mainstay in every bit of story that you get. When it comes to nounitis, which, if you aren't familiar, is a common problem in original fictional worlds, normally diagnosed in Harry Potter notebooks of overzealous 15-year-olds who think making fake words that sound cool equals good world building. No, I'm not talking from personal experience. Seriously, I was always more of an Undertale kid. In fact, to prove this, let me give you a rundown of the setting in under a minute. People live in the city. Non-people live outside in the outskirts.
Did he actually write it himself? Also, like, this is kind of like really nice or
Districts
handwriting.
compose the city, which are all named after a letter. Each district contains a nest, which is the city proper,
Safer.
and the back streets, which are the slums.
Nobody
Each
is
nest
safe.
has a wing, which is a mega corporation that supports the city as a whole with its unique technology called a singularity. The leading body of the city is known as the head, which is comprised of districts A, B, and C, no relation. Nobody really knows anything about them. You're not supposed to. People can hire certain others to fix their problems, called fixers. Fixers can be part of offices, which are individually owned businesses, or associations, which are massive scale companies in their own right, of which there are 12, all named after a number. Fixes themselves are also graded by numbers, going from grade 9 to grade 1, with only the most legendary fixes being awarded a color, of which there can only be one per color at any given time. Also, abnormalities are monsters extracted from the mind, which were invented by L Corp. Distortions are people who turn into monsters because of their feelings, which was also L Corp's fault, with ego being the result of preventing your own distortion through sheer force of will. There's also another type extracted from abnormalities, taking on their properties instead of being unique to you. These concepts are all kind of linked, and time! How'd I do? I wrote that not knowing how long it'd take to say it all, so
So I have to say, I don't know if you guys by any chance are a fan of Tower of God, but I absolutely love the webtoon. I would love to see a similar, implementation into the gacha system, or like the gacha game like they having with the Limbus Company. Because like that world and the story like overall is also like really, like complex and stuff, and I genuinely enjoy it. Unfortunately, Netmarble will create Tower of God New World and kind of fuck it up.
That's pretty good. Hopefully you got all that. And if you still think that's confusing, I challenge you to do the same with your favorite gacha game and still make it comprehensive. What Limbus does is make all the keywords commonly used ones, so you can intuit their meaning and form a proper mental connection between the word and the position in the setting. The physical world makes use of bird imagery and letters. The human system works on numbers and colors. Not foolproof, but you get what I mean. The worst it gets is with Lobotomy Corporation with things like enkephalin and Kagito, various other SCP-style jargon, but that's isolated over there and doesn't much affect Limbus. Units also don't need to be shilled for the same reason there isn't character irrelevance. Units you pull for will be tied to the main cast through their ID. See what I mean about keywords? Meaning there'll never be a character that seems to only be in the story so that the company can make you pay for them.
Yo, what is this? This is like a skin or the ego or the... I don't know, I have to pull for this chick, right? Like, for the skin at least. I mean, recently I had such a dream to building my own game, and not gonna lie, like nowadays I am a little bit more perceptive when it comes to the entire gaming environment, and I have to say, this is such a freaking fine character right here. Even the entire, like, a landscape or the background feels like, seriously, who drawing these?
Pay for them. Rather, the character from the story just so happens to be one you can pay for. Bloated dialogue? Well,
damn.
It depends on your definition. Okay. If we're talking about
out of context.
And I'll get into this in my next section where I talk about why I think this game probably isn't as big as it deserves. Is the dialogue bloated? No. It flows like a conversation. Characters stay true to their development or current temperament.
It's gotta be
Character
gameplay,
interactions
right?
are through the wazoo, but there is quite a lot of it. Is it needed? I'd say so, yeah, but I know many a person who'd rather it wasn't so verbose or lengthy at times. For example, Kanto 8 is probably the longest Kanto released so far, surpassing that of Kanto 4 easily,
Holy.
yet I don't feel as though it's as long, you know? Especially when you're doing that dungeon in the middle. That whole section was absolutely amazing. It felt like the end of the Kanto itself, despite us only being halfway through. I believe Limbus Company does gacha the right way. Yes, it's
nice.
a gacha to make money. Yes, it's a little predatory, but
who cares about the predatory? Like, based on what I hear, like, let's be real, there are way worse games. Let's look at the art. It kind of slaps. Am I crazy? On the side, I playing the reverse 1999, and oh my god, like the art is like amazing. I genuinely love it. And now, like, seeing a different, environment or the world, right? Having a different vibes and a unique like art style, it's such a freaking nice to see it.
at its heart, it's a video game. It's an experience. It's a
video
story.
game.
And that comes before the attempts Project Moon makes to rake in the dollars. You can say whatever you want about companies being all inherently evil, but at the very least, when one is authentic and honest, it breeds a kind of
the way he
respect
blinking
almost
is so
equivalent to
funny.
loyalty. Because that's what it feels as though Project Moon, the indie video game company, wants, not your wallet. And nothing is more authentic than going live as the CEO of your company with your VTuber model, playing your own roguelike mode, and feeding your most hated unit to the man-eating Christmas goblins because you regret making him so strong. With all my
This is what I genuinely love it. Like I said, in the last 2 days, I watched a couple streams with him, and like this is one of the best, like, marketing, I would say, because it genuinely shows you that the people who developing the game are genuinely giving a fuck about the game.
praise out of the way, I think it's about time I talk about the game's shortcomings, at least when it comes to general popularity and widespread appeal. While I'm very much aware that PM is much more than Limbus Company, it's their most profitable investment, so I'm going to keep the
look at
scope
that.
limited to that game, if you'll forgive me. I'll keep it simple. Limbus Company doesn't turn heads, for the same reason that Library of Arena didn't turn heads. Despite it being low-key inspired by famous pieces of literature, let's be real, nobody gives an absolute flying fuck about Wuthering Heights. Moby Dick.
Yeah, but also at the same time, it's kind of nice that it having a little bit more profound, connection to the real world.
Crime and Punishment. Damien. What? This is
But also, I would say, I'm not entirely sure if they also like inspired by, the story from these books and stuff. But I would say if you applying, some events from a human, world and apply it into the game, you will probably having a little bit more, deeper connection with the game or with the someone who playing it.
Oh, wait, that's the Wattpad version. Apparently the real one's not so far off. LobCorp was SCP-inspired, tapping into the immense online presence of the SCP Foundation's community, whether it be the die-hard fans and cult following or the general knowers, as it were. Limbus Company doesn't have that privilege. Well, unless you count on your fingers the members of your nan's book club. Further expanding on that, the general aesthetic of the game isn't one you'd typically call attractive. Perhaps to a certain audience, but it's not like I'd call Darkest Dungeon, Fear and Hunger,
like
and Wizardry
very moody.
attractive. In contrast to saturated, colorful worlds of other games filled to the brim with glitter, lights, and rainbows, the only set of colors you'll see in Limbus Company are whatever a person's guts look like as they splatter all over your screen. Much like the setting, the aesthetic is drab and depressing. Grays, whites, and black overpower much of the scenery, and where it doesn't, sterile white.
I mean, oh my god, look at that character, by the way. Such a freaking fine lady. At least I hope that... Alfonso, okay, it's a guy, right? And as I get confused, I completely forgot my thoughts, so let's keep it
Areas
going.
like the nests contribute to the powerful dystopian nature of a divided populace united only in the ways of making one another suffer. And if we're talking about how things look, I can pivot over to the gacha game equivalent of jingling keys in front of your face. Fan service. Limbus has practically zero. In the sexual sense, at least. There's actually
I was
a lot of
kind of
fan
curious, like,
service.
there's
As in,
no
if
way.
you're a fan of the studio's works, you'll like a lot of the plot lines brought up in the game, but Limbus Company isn't exactly the type of video game you'd call Guna fuel. Ugh, I hate that word. Fuck you, Game Grumps. Season 5
Very
perhaps
nice.
gave us the more risque IDs in the series in
Yo.
Princess Roger and Kurokoma Ishmael. By risque, I mean she's got her cleavage out, and even then
The
you can count the number of
tattoo.
IDs that show
Who cares about the cleavage? Look at the tattoo, that looks badass. Okay, this chick has a huge boob. This chick looks crazy and another dude looks pretty badass. If I'm seeing the banner of all of them, I'm basically freaking fried. I would love to have all of
even
them.
that on your one hand. The others probably bit. Despite having adult themes, Project Moon doesn't really divulge in anything sexually explicit, or even really utilize sex appeal in any way. The main method of dress for all denizens of the city is some form of suit, after all.
That
That's
is
not
dope.
a bad thing, not really, but when you consider the genre in which Limbus Company has planted its feet in, you can get an idea of why it's kind of negative in some way. Guna fuel makes our hamster ball turn, and in the absence of it, less people
Yeah,
flock
this
inward
was
to keep it
crazy.
rolling. Commonly, the idea of sexy equals bad because popular is used. Well, there's no sexy here. You want to come in and try this out? No? Yeah, that's what I thought. Sex sells. Limbus,
Okay, maybe
arguably, doesn't.
maybe I'm
Without it,
built
less people are
different.
drawn in unless they have prior knowledge of the universe or game. And even when the odd straggler finds their way in, the sheer walls of text you must endeavor do have a habit of making them turn right back around. When your average gacha game might look like this can be a little overwhelming. Boxes of text flying around faster than a crackhead on a fix, coins ding-a-ling-linging, and Wild Hunt Heathcliff cackling like he knows
It's
what
like
your
going to
search history
casino.
looks like. Are we sure we're not playing Lobotomy Corporate? I'm sure. What are these things on the bottom? Why are there so many arrows flying around? What are all these?
I don't know, like at some point, this looks really freaking confusing, but like also at the same time, like when I seeing it, yeah, you have like bunch of numbers, like there is no question about it, but like each arrow is going towards one specific point, and you seeing the, the vector or the, the arrows, so I assume there's gonna be like power or the velocity of the each spell. So you can probably tell that this chick is maybe gonna have a, higher chance of dealing more damage than this chick to her. And I guess you have one of two spells for each characters. Well, we'll see how complex it will be.
So many arrows flying around. What do all these statuses mean? God, reading? In my story-driven gacha game? Blah. Project Moon has never made that game super intuitive, let's say. They've always had problems with things being more complicated than they make it out to be, putting emphasis on the wrong things, or outright not explaining particular mechanics. Could you believe I didn't know how to offset guards until halfway through Canto 4? The answer is yes! You probably could if you know what the tutorial is like,
gotta be
because they
me.
make it seem more like Candy Crush than anything else. Seriously, resonance is only important for like 2 teens in the entire game.
Yo, the
Speaking
art
truthfully,
slaps.
the game is about as hard as it
Holy.
looks, but not as difficult as you think. By that, I mean you just have to read passives, kits, bosses, maybe a bit of mental maths for Clash Power if you're feeling up to it, or just watch these videos by SGU. But if we're at that point, then yes, there probably is a reason why the game is considered a little overwhelming to new players. I will say, people overblow the difficulty of this game to an elitist level at times, but a basic understanding of how clashing and speed works is all it takes to clear the contents of the story. Speaking of the story, let's touch
nice.
on that. It's long. Not as long as, say, Arknights. I think that story is well surpassed.
Wait a minute, this is just the Arknights? Oh my god. Like recently I read some comment that I'm basically ignorant for not knowing this story, and mind you, I barely played for 1 month. After seeing this, whoever wrote that comment, I don't know, maybe they need to put him into Lobotomy Corporation for more
The
studying.
length of the fucking Bible. Hell, I wouldn't even call this story lengthy in general, but it may feel that way because it's not 3D. It doesn't have animations, you aren't going around talking to NPCs, you are playing a visual novel with combat nodes in the place of choices. What gets you through that is the interest hopefully bred through the concept of the universe and a connection to the characters and the will to see their stories and development. It does suffer a little from the gacha game curse of only getting good halfway in, but it hardly takes any time relatively. Kanto 1 suffers from being the first Kanto and so needs to establish character dynamics, villains, stakes, etc. Kanto 2 suffers because the main focus character doesn't really resolve anything by the end of it, and
it
Kanto
that
3
bad?
is where the game really hits its stride and finds its formula. The sinner must
Okay.
wholly confront their past, face their trauma, and realize themselves by the end of it. If you're a Project Moon fan, you know that this is a recipe for success. Kanto 4 is long, wordy, but emotional. Kanto 5 is hate-filled, aggressive, but hopeful. Kanto 6 is sad, dreary, but resolute. Kanto 7 is cynical, crushing, but uplifting. And Kanto 8 so far is just as amazing as its predecessors. Dare I say, maybe even the best delivered despite its length. But for a casual audience, what most are looking for isn't an amazing piece of
So
narrative writing. They're
it's
more
gotta be more
concerned
like a
about
niche.
hype moments and aura. Think Solo Leveling beating out Freerun or Apothecary Diaries. Hell, even the new series of Bleach. More relevant, think Wuthering Waves,
Even
whose
Bleach?
appreciation is admittedly skewed by
I
just
think
how cool
we
Robo
cooked.
is. A majority of people don't want this, they want this. And while that's a-okay and fine diddly
Honestly, like, I do find this, I'm playing the Wuthering Waves for a quite long time. And I say it's really like entertainment game and everything, but the more I started playing like Arknights Reverse 1999, things like that, I actually found, story or the lore wise, I found these games more interesting than like these like kind of AAA like games, or at least like visually.
It is a little disheartening, and perhaps greater than all those points is this one. Project Moon has no representation in the West. Now, let me
I can be one. If there's someone from Project Moon, I'm literally your guy. We can even like hang out. 안녕하세요. 제발.
correct myself. There is representation in the West, just not conventional representation. I'll get to it. Have you ever seen a Limbus Company ad? A Limbus Company sponsor?
Look at the
Maybe
dude.
once, if you're lucky, like a whisper in the wind.
Honestly, I didn't know about this game even exist until I heard it like from the community. Like I kept like hearing, okay, this is good, but the Limbus Company, but the Limbus Company, but the Limbus Company. So I was like, okay, what the fuck is so special about it? And yeah, it looks really interesting.
Marketing, apparently,
Happy
isn't
to
Project
try it
Moon's
today.
strong suit. That much is clear if you ask a casual gacha player if they know what Limbus Company is. I'd give it like a 30-70 shot. This isn't a fair comparison, but I'm gonna make it anyway.
Yo,
I've
what is
seen
this
Julian's
play style?
ass enough times on my
Crazy.
desktop to make me fear what Google thinks of me as a person. I've seen Faust. Actually, I haven't, because they don't do ads. Not only that, but Limbus is only in Korean. No English dub. People don't want to play it.
Okay, maybe because I, spending also some time in Korea, and basically Korea is kind of my, like a second home. So for me specifically, I love Korea. And to be honest, when I was streaming some like previous gacha games and there was the option to play Japanese or the Korean, people were like, why not choosing the Japanese? I, like, genuinely to me, the Korean sounds way, way cooler.
Because it's in Korean and only in Korean. I know this because it's the reason
Oh,
I
good to know.
originally didn't play the game. And while it's not an issue for me anymore, I love the Korean voice acting actually. Anime adjacents will have a harder time integrating themselves, which, let's be real, are the main audience for gacha games. Project Moon doesn't push for this game for whatever
Yo.
reason. I wholeheartedly believe Limbus can be the gacha game. Like how Genshin or HSR is the biggest. Like how
I would say that's
ZZ
Well,
is the
okay.
goonest. It's hardly predatory, offers probably the most interesting setting in all of gachas period, and feels unique in its themes and storytelling. However, with the lack of pushing, it remains under the Wuthering Waves. Literally, a hidden gem on the cusp of being revealed. But this lack of clear representation has found a crack in the wall, a glitch in the system. One could say a hidden pipeline. The Roblox to Limbus Company pipeline.
By the way, I'm actually working on another game besides the Limbus Company. Like, seeing how they kind of approaching, the entire game industry, I'm really excited
Is a
or like
very real
interested
thing.
as well.
Let's talk about it. Roblox is a site where players create their own games for other players to enjoy. Marketed more so towards kids, it's a platform powered by the players, sort of like Steam or Itch.io with a more personal twist and many more limitations. And groom. Allow me to emphasize for effect. This is a platform where users are entirely responsible for other users' experiences. Despite Roblox being primarily for children, there exists many a community of older Roblox players who've cultivated a fair few games for a more developed audience. Roleplay groups with your favorite anime, show, or interest. Closed community games that require you to know a guy who knows a guy so you get to be a grunt in another person's story. Complex games complete with high-octane parry-based fighting, complex deck building, and permadeath mechanics with whole server-wide PvP wars that destroy your bandwidth to top it all off.
I think if the Roblox gonna like upgrade the characters and like the design and stuff, I think it's over. Like for me, when I seeing it, I would have to be like solely dedicated fan to like give it a shot, because like the gameplay might be fun, but like you know, seeing this like Lego-like characters kind of reminds me a little bit like different version of Minecraft, right? I don't feel I want to play this type of game, but as soon as the aesthetic gonna level up, I think it's gonna be like
all
insane.
This to say, Project Moon, a studio for a more mature audience, somehow wormed its way into these communities through the odd fan or two. It started maybe with a few tongue-in-cheek references in a game. It grew to adding weapons from Lobotomy Corporation or Library of Arena in another, then another. Maybe in a game less serious for a younger audience, then another, maybe a whole character or two this time. Multiple iterations of the same thing repeated, like IDs from Mirror World, spreading further and further, at times being added simply because these things were rad rather than because they liked the source material. At this point, one might ask, why not make a game? Well, they did. Limbus Game, a battleground where you can fight others as your favorite ID. Archived, an MMO-style RPG taking place in the city where you can challenge the library, join an association, make an office, realize your own ego, much like the characters from the games it was based on. People thought, oh, this is cool, I wonder where it's from. And before you knew it, Project Moon had somehow grown to be represented in Roblox, of all places. Sakura Stand, Illusions, Item Asylum, Forsaken, a Dead by Daylight style game and one of the most popular on the platform with over 150 concurrents. Has a skin based on a character from Limbus using a remix of Millie's track. And if the designs weren't enough to make people think it was cool, then the music sure as hell did.
Scream if you love Millie.
It cannot be understated how much influence this kind of representation has had on Limbus Company's popularity. And I know this because I found out about Limbus again from Roblox. Yes, I'm a grown man who still plays Roblox. Get over it. We all do if you grew up at a certain age. It was cool. And if you paid attention to what I was saying before, you'll know that is enough. Such representation, however, is a double-edged sword.
This looks kind of cool.
Obviously. Kids ruin everything. Fandoms, communities, games, marriages. They're dumb, easily influenced, unfunny, and most of all, act like they know things they don't. But it's the hand the community was dealt. It didn't help that the Project Moon universe caters to the lowest common denominator, aka power scalers with the very existence of fixes. But, as I said earlier, the keywords are easy to understand, and the concepts are grim. That is, interesting at a base level. The trickle-down effect of an intended audience, combined with a bit of reproduction and a very lucky inclusion and subsequent boom of a game on a children's platform, has allowed Limbus Company to be contracted with a very severe case of BAFPUMS, baby's first problematic piece of media syndrome. There, we'll workshop it. Thus, the gatekeeping began, the community became more obnoxious, which, let's be real, you all were already, and a bad rep started to be guarded. We were, after all, refugees from Roblox.
So was it the Roblox that kind of give the Limbus Company like a second push and become a little bit more mainstream?
Not the greatest tag, I'll say. At least the memes got better. And yet, despite this double-edged sword, I could never really condemn my brethren because, in the end, we were what the community needed. We were the glue. No, we were the representation. Word of mouth. Younger fans, like it or not, are more zealous. They make for good cult material, perhaps to a detriment at times, but if Project Moon wasn't going to go the full 9 yards for their game, these ones sure will. They'll badger, they'll annoy, they'll backseat, they'll nitpick, they'll wrongly quote, they'll shill this game, and I'm pretty sure half of them have never even played it. Should they even know about the game in the first place?
Who cares? Just free advertisement.
But now we're gonna stop them. And that's sort of what I want to get at. Attention is only good for the community. I talked about sponsors. Well, Project Moon actually did sponsor someone. Shirakami Fubuki from Hololive. Yes, that one. In terms of representation, popular VTubers like Himemiya Ray and to a lesser extent Tenma Miami are stalwart bastions for the Project Moon games. Forgoing
Oh,
the
that's
facade
nice.
of a pixelated visage, Lakari, notorious Blue Archive fan, played through all of Lobotomy Corporation, God rest his soul, and
That's
Library of
kinda
Arena to
creepy.
upwards of 2,000 concurrent. Genazad played all the way through to Kanto 7 as of writing this video to nearly the same amount. And hate him or absolutely despise him, Tectone, the bold, angry Genshin demon from the year 2021,
Why is he naked?
punished all Limbus Company fans with his presence as he rose.
This looks amazing. Like this environment, I don't know if was an event or something. I think it's because it's like very colorful. It looks amazing.
Friends with his presence as he rose from hell to face us. Thank God he only played
Very
until
nice.
Kanto 4. And I'll say it again, this is only good for the growth of the community, to get the global recognition I feel like we all think it deserves. I recall the second anniversary when I first revised this script, and I remember feeling disappointed. There was no massive marketing push, there was no big banner to bring people in, just two pretty cool IDs and a billboard in Akihabara. It's clear that
Like-
Kim Ji-hoon cares a lot.
I don't know why, but like when I'm seeing the building, maybe it's like these like advertisements below. They basically do not outstand like from the environment as much. But low-key, it would be nice to take it home and like have it, you know, like on the background. Maybe if I'm gonna start playing the game, maybe I should like put some background here. So basically my background is not gonna be the white anymore.
About the people who like his games and his universe. From their humble start to the multiple times where he feels as though he's let
This
down
is
his community.
crazy.
Stemming from as early as the translator scam incident from Lobcorp, he seems to want to take things slow and easy now. He cares so much that it even negatively affects Limbus Company, backtracking on a much-needed nerf to an ID that the testing team sloppily allowed to deal 400 single-target true damage minimum per turn. Unprecedented. Even when the compensation was full refunds to anyone who spent on the banner, 1.5 IDs of your choosing, a guaranteed 3-star 10-pull ticket, and you got to keep the unit. He still backtracked when people outraged. He apologized profusely, despite these units in this game costing infinitely less comparative to games like Genshin or Wuwa, because I guess even the game that still puts the story first will be treated as a gacha at the end of the day. People saw it as him going back on
You know what's actually crazy? If this is going to be the Genshin Impact, they don't give a fuck. Like, quite literally. I would even put the money on the table that they wouldn't care as much. Also, sometimes I feel like if you being like really polite and generous, people gonna like take it for the granted or kinda abuse it. And maybe also this could be the case to a certain, you know, extent.
his word to the community with regard to the Ring Sang nerfs, another OP unit from the start of the game, and he prioritized that bond with his fans over the health of the game itself. Mouse truly thrust into the light that Project Moon's biggest
Fucking
strength
hell, what's
and their
wrong with
biggest
this
curse
art?
are their fans.
Everything looks so
Even
fire.
so, we as fans still want to see this game grow and succeed. If Project Moon wants to take it slow with marketing and publicity and everything else, well, the
Go
people will
for it.
take it into their own hands, on accident or otherwise, even if it garners a certain label at this point. And it is growing. It's about twice as popular as when I first drafted this script in early
Wow.
January, but one does have to wonder what that means for the future of the game. Much like the message of their
Please
games,
sponsor
it is
me,
now up
Project
to the
Moon.
people.
I'm begging you.
The seeds have been sown.
I'm
and
gonna
is up
play
to
it either
us
way,
to
but
help them
please.
grow. Man, that is a cheesy way to win this video. Bye-bye!
So after my very first video regarding to Limbus Company, I was like, this game looks rather interesting, really nice visuals, things like that, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give it a shot, I'm gonna give it a try and like see how it goes. But after this one, I am so hyped for this game, it's quite insane. I hope I'm not gonna be that disappointed, like based on the Kanto 1 up till 3, it's kinda like a mid based on this tier, and like as you go a little bit further with the story, it gets things better and better. So I'm quite curious about my very first playthrough. But overall, when I'm seeing the approach, how this company is like treating the games, things like that, I am even more hyped. So I really do appreciate watching this video. It hyped me up even more, and I will bringing my very first playthrough to this channel really soon. Until next time, have a lovely day. Take care.